Hey guys, Jack on Wrist here, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to try and convince you that Rolex is a ripoff. I personally think that you should be spending your money on other, more cost-efficient brands. I have 3 reasons to share with you why this is the case. Before I jump into this video, I want to mention that I've personally owned both modern and vintage Rolex models, and I've since sold them to experience other brands that offer better value for money. Of course, you should always buy what you want. Keep in mind this is simply my opinion. Without further ado, let's talk about why Rolex is a ripoff with reason number 1. Same specs for more money. Without a doubt, Rolex is a top-tier luxury brand. That point cannot be disputed. They make some of the highest quality watches money can buy. However, you can get equal, if not better quality, with less money. Because of all the hype with Rolex and lack of availability, you have to pay a huge premium to get most Rolex watches, even though their quality does not warrant such a huge increase in price. For a good representation of this, let's look at 3 dive watches. One from Rolex, one from Rolex's sister brand Tudor, and one from Omega. On this graphic, I've displayed aftermarket prices for each of these watches along with notable specifications. When it is laid out on this graphic like this, it is easy to see just how not worth it Rolex is. The Rolex Submariner is almost 3 times as much as the Tudor Black Bay 58, and 2 times the price of the Omega Seamaster 300. All feature in-house movements with good power reserves, along with great quality bracelets and beautiful designs. But again, as mentioned, the Rolex towers over the rest in terms of price. And you can make this comparison for other watches beyond the Rolex Submariner. Almost any watch Rolex makes will have comparable specifications to that of its direct competition with 2 or 3 times the price tag. However, these prices I'm referring to are aftermarket and not representative of the more reasonable but yet still expensive retail Rolex prices. And that brings me to my next point regarding buying Rolex watches at retail. Point number 2, you can't get one. As I alluded to earlier, the retail prices of a lot of Rolex watches are more comparable to that of their direct competition, such as brands like Omega. But you have to keep in mind how difficult it is to acquire a more desirable Rolex watch at retail. For most regular people who decide they want a particular Rolex, you can't simply walk into your nearest authorized Rolex dealer and buy it. Because Rolex watches resell for so much money in the aftermarket, dealers want to make sure you aren't going to immediately flip the watch that you buy from them. For these authorized dealers to quote-unquote vet you, there's an unspoken rule that you need to buy jewelry, ladies' watches, and undesirable models from Rolex and sometimes other brands to show your loyalty. Once you do that, you'll be moved up the list and given an allocation for the watch you really want. I know that is how it works in the world of watches a lot of times, but to me that is a dirty business practice. Compare that again to a brand like Omega, where if you want to buy almost any watch of theirs, you can get it without any problem. For the sake of convenience, let's use the example we used earlier. If you want the Omega Seamaster 300, you can more than likely walk into an Omega dealer right now and buy one. And again, if you want a Rolex Submariner at retail, you're going to have to buy lots of watches and items you don't want just for the opportunity to get the Submariner. Why pay for a Rolex and lots of other useless things when you can get an amazing watch from a brand without any hassle or added nonsense? Reason number 3, the Rolex name doesn't carry more weight. Some of you might be saying all that extra money for Rolex is worth it because you have a watch with the most prestige and significance. After all, it is Rolex, maybe the most recognizable watch brand there is. To that I would say you're only partially right. I'm not going to sit here and say Rolex isn't an outstanding brand with real history entrenched in horology, but the Rolex name isn't more significant or prestigious than that of other huge brands that have made watches what they are today. Being well known doesn't equal being the best. The Rolex brand has made many significant achievements, but so has Omega, Tag Heuer, Seiko, Vacheron, and plenty more. All those brands pack a huge horological punch. Rolex has fooled many people into thinking they are the absolute best through lots of great marketing and product placement, but to say undoubtedly they're the best or have done the most for watches is simply untrue. Every brand has contributed something different to the world of watches. I would argue there's no one best watch brand out there. So back to my main point. Rolex is not a good deal simply on the basis that they are the most well-known brand. As discussed, there are brands that offer equal quality and equal history for a lower price. That is my list of 3 reasons why Rolex is a ripoff. Please let me know what you thought of my points in the comment section down below. If I haven't made it clear, I think Rolex is a great brand and I love many of their watches, but with the market the way it is right now, it just isn't worth it to buy right now. That is just my opinion and I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the brand. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.